What's up, everybody? So my name is Kenny, and in this video, we're going to talk about how do you know if you're dealing with a legitimate collection company. I've been in the credit industry for half of a decade. I've been helping my clients all across Canada fix their credit, and there are so many collection companies that are not legitimate. Now, they may be registered within your province, they may be registered in Canada, they may be set up legally, but their practices aren't legit, right? And so there's a few things that I'm going to share in this video so that if you're dealing with a collection company, you kind of know what to keep an eye out for. So the first thing that I like to bring up is how they first contact you. So typically, or what they're supposed to do legally, is they're supposed to send you a letter by mail. Okay, they're not supposed to call you first. They're not supposed to send you an email first. They're supposed to send a physical letter to your address. So these are things that legitimate collection companies do. If you get a random email from a collection company, this is a huge red flag. Okay, this is a huge red flag. This is not the first way you're supposed to be approached. It's supposed to be by mail. If you get a phone call first, this is a huge red flag. You are supposed to receive a letter to your address first. Okay, that's the first thing that's supposed to happen. All right. Another big flag is that they're harassing and calling your family members. Okay, so collection companies can call your family members. They can call your employer, but that's only if they don't have your address. Okay, so but they can't call them every day harassing them about your address. I actually had a family member of mine that was going through a collection issue, and the collection company contacted me. Now, obviously, I said that I don't have his contact information. I'm unable to provide you with that information. But that company was legitimate. They backed away, and they no longer contacted me about my family member's debt. Okay, so that's what a legitimate collection company is going to do. If they contact your family asking for your contact information, and that family member isn't able to provide you um, with their information, then they're gonna back off and they're gonna, stop contacting you. But an illegitimate one, they're gonna call that family member every single day, driving them crazy. They're gonna contact your employer every single day, driving them crazy. And this is an issue because I've seen situations to where it can ruin relationships with family members, right? That can ruin a relationship with a family member because you put your family member down as someone that they can contact. So you pretty much gave access to their information. So that can ruin relationships. And then also, it could end up getting you fired from your job. I've also seen situations where people have been fired from their job because the collection company was contacting the employer every single day, right? So it's important that if this is happening to you, whether they're contacting a family member or they're contacting your employer, you jump on this as quick as possible. You send them a cease and desist, and you try to deal with the debt the right way. Okay. Now, another thing you can look out for: are they registered within your province? Okay. There's some resources online that you can use to check if the company is registered within your province. Obviously, there's a registrar in each province, but there is a central website where you can check pretty much the company in general and see each province that they're located in. So you want to check and see if that company is registered within your province. If they are not registered in your province, then they are not able to collect on the debt. Okay, so keep that in mind. So the first thing I'm going to do when you get that, and the great thing about receiving a letter is that you get the business's name or their DBA, and you get their address. Okay, which allows you then to go and look up that business, read some reviews of what previous clients have to deal with that company, and um, you can also look them up in the registrar within your province and see if they're actually registered. Okay, because if they're not, they can't collect on that debt. All right. Next thing is they don't have proof of debt. If they don't have proof of debt, then they have nothing to collect on, and this is good news for you because then you can leverage that information to get it off of your credit report. Now, to be more specific, what proof of debt is the original signed agreement that you signed with the original creditor. So let's say, for example, I walk into Fido and I want to get a phone plan. If I want that phone plan, I'm going to sign a contract with Fido that then gives me access to that phone plan. Okay. Now, at some point, I then decide to stop making payments on that phone plan. 6 months go by. Fido is then going to write it off as a tax write off. and then they're going to sell it to a collection company. Okay. After they sell it to a collection company, they need to pass over that contract that I signed with them on day one over to the collection company. But you'll be surprised how many times collection companies actually don't receive that documentation, right? So that's why it's always important that you ask for that first, because that's going to be the one thing that actually binds you to that debt is your signed contract. Now, even if they have that contract, the debt still needs to be within the statute of limitations within your province. Now, most provinces are going to be 2 years unless you live in Quebec, which is 3 years, or you live out far east, the east coast of Canada, such as Nova Scotia, where things can kind of get different, or PEI. That's where things kind of get different. But for most provinces, it's going to be 2 years. Okay. So if it's past the statute of limitations, if it's past the statute of limitations on debt, and they're contacting you about it, then legally they can't sue you. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of times what they'll do is they'll threaten to sue you in those letters that you're getting or over the phone calls, right? And so this is another red flag. They're going to be threatening to sue you. They're going to get very aggressive over the phone. They're going to say, hey, if you don't pay this, we'll force you to file for a judgment, which, by the way, they can't, you know, if it's past the statute of limitations, there's nothing they can do on it, right? Well, a lot of times I've seen situations where they send a client a letter with saying they're going to force them to file for bankruptcy, which makes absolutely no sense. No one can force you to file for bankruptcy. That's something that you need to submit with a trustee, right? With a concern proposal, soft bankruptcy, that's something you need to do with the trustee. So again, these are all the things that you need to look out for when you're dealing with a collection company. You need to look at how they're contacting you, how they're contacting your family members, if they're actually registered, if they're set up legitimately, if they actually have proof of debt. Okay, these are basically it's a checklist of the things that you need to make sure you're dealing with a legitimate collection company. Now, if you need help with a collection company and it's on your credit report hurting your credit, then you can always give us a contact. My email is info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com. You can always follow us on TikTok, A1KennyJ. Follow us on Instagram, Kenny Johnson University. And as always, I'm here to help. So best of luck, take care, and peace.